This is PWF Empire Live.
It's the best thing going today.
The best insight and analysis on the hottest topics in the world of wrestling happens here. From storylines and news to rumors and reviews, we've got the action covered from bell to bell.
Believe that.
Presented by PWFempire.com with your hosts,
Steven,
Evan Medina, and J-Dub.
do I have everybody's attention now?
The match starts now.
PWF Empire is live. Thank you all for tuning in on this Tuesday, November 24th, 2015. It's the 24th, right? Yeah, because we're 2 days away from Thanksgiving. That's the 26th. That's the, I believe, the 6-year anniversary of the very first time that I watched The Wire. My favorite show of all time. I just thought I'd like to share that with you guys. And we have Steven joining me on the hosting panel tonight. What's up?
You excited to talk about Raw? A lot going on, you know. Our great champion who's super credible, Sheamus. We got him. We got
Mohawk.
Roman Reigns. We got the new European alliance going on. I guess that's exciting.
I'm so excited. But here's the thing,
We got Heath Slater.
No.
He was funny.
No matter what goes on in WWE, I'm always excited to get on PWF Empire Live and chat with you guys. So I would like to thank you all for tuning in, and I would like to give you a little preview of what it is that we will be discussing tonight. We're going to be basically sifting through the fallout from Survivor Series. That's going to be the overarching theme for this episode of PWF Empire Live. And in addition to that, we are going to debut a new segment here on PWF Empire Live. It is going to be the Kayfabe tier list. This was created by our very own Steven, and he's going to be telling you a little bit more about that later on as the show progresses. But with that Survivor Series fallout, let's go ahead and start at the top, or hell, I should say the bottom, because I saw these ratings for this last episode of Monday Night Raw, and I think they hit like a 2.16, and the viewership of the show was below 3 million. Now, that's the lowest rating for Monday Night Raw in, at the very least, 17 years. I use this one resource for ratings. I went back and I looked at all of the ratings on the past 17 years, and they didn't go any further back than 1998. But yeah, that was the lowest rating since 1998, even before that. So, WWE, I wish there was a lot going on, but to be quite honest, maybe there is a lot going on, but not much of it is any good. But we'll be sifting through that rubble tonight, as we said. But let's go ahead and kick things off discussing the top tier in WWE, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship picture. We had Sheamus going in as a champion to Monday Night Raw, and it was announced that Roman Reigns will be getting his rematch for his 5-minute and 15-second title reign at TLC. Now, Steven, I know that actually everyone on PWF Empire Live, a lot of the fans watching as well, we expressed our discontent with the way that things turned out on Survivor Series. But based off of the way that WWE handled Monday Night Raw, did that, bring down your level of pistivity? Did it make you more okay with things?
No, not really. It didn't make me more upset, but it didn't make me less upset. And they did about as well as they could given the situation, I shouldn't even say that because they created the situation. It's not like this was self-imposed. I mean, it's not like this wasn't self-imposed. But I thought Sheamus gave a good promo. I mean, that's something nice that I could say. I really like Sheamus. I wish that he was booked a lot better because I think he's really good. I think he cuts a great promo, and I think he is pretty good in the ring. So it would be really nice if he was credible, but he's not.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't even tell you whether Sheamus cut a good promo or not because I fast-forwarded through that point of Raw. I'll go ahead and raise my hand when I say that Raw hit its lowest rating in 17 years. I'm one of the people that contributed to that because I didn't watch Monday Night Raw live. That was the first time that I haven't watched Raw live in, I believe, 2 years. And 2 years ago, that was some more bullshit that WWE was doing with that whole vacant championship when they had Big Show come and knock out who was it? Randy Orton and
Daniel
Bryan, and the show just ended. Like, okay, that's it. So, I didn't watch Raw live, but nothing that I saw from Raw made me more okay with it, because the fact is Sheamus is still, Mr. Mohawk is still the champion. You still have a damn haircut, walking around with the championship. I didn't see any kind of character development with him on the show. Roman Reigns, he is the only person that I am interested in this at all. And that's so weird, because it's like, I want to see Roman Reigns get more aggressive. Like, I want to see this storyline propel him to the Roman Reigns that I want him to be. The one who doesn't take any, kick ass, take names, take no prisoners, stuff like that. Like, but the problem is, Sheamus isn't the type of person I want to see get his comeuppance or anything like that. Like, I don't have any investment in who Sheamus is. I don't really care. So shit, like, they could have had Roman Reigns versus Vacant. As far as I'm concerned, I'd much rather see Roman Reigns go in there and try to wrestle a match with an invisible person than with Sheamus, because I don't care about him at all. Like, this isn't a situation where it's WWE, they're going to turn real life discontent or disgust with someone's character into storyline heat, because I know the difference between somebody I love to hate and somebody that I just don't want to see. And Sheamus is a person that I don't want to see.
Yeah, I think there's an element of Sheamus. People love to hate him, but that's in the mid-card, where he's not imposing on anything. I think people like chanting, "You look stupid," but like you said, that's a haircut. I mean, that's not a character, and it's not a main event gimmick. So, yeah, it's exactly like you said. I've lost all interest in Roman Reigns right now. I don't know how you could still be interested in him, because I'm not. I was very interested in him going into Survivor
wishful
Series.
thinking. It's wishful thinking.
Well, I don't know what wishful thinking can make this better. I don't see any situation where Sheamus versus Reigns is interesting. I just don't. And I know they're trying to make it like Reigns versus Triple H. That's what they're trying to do, because I think they know how stupid this is. So it looks like it's Reigns versus Triple H, except Sheamus is just a proxy. Given what we saw in Raw, I don't know. Well, you fast forwarded it, so you didn't see that part.
Well, I actually saw that part. I watched the part where Roman Reigns came out, and I saw his interaction with Triple H. That is something that I really liked. Like, that's the whole thing there. Like, Sheamus, he's the deal breaker for me. Anytime you involve him, I don't care. But you had Sheamus and Triple H there. It's like, okay, well, if this is what you want it to be, shit, why don't you press fast forward on the storyline portion of it? Because I'm more than willing to you know how they do in TV shows where sometimes they jump forward. Like, I know Desperate Housewives a few years ago, they jumped forward like 5 years in the storyline. Yeah, I'm not even necessarily. You don't have to jump forward 5 years. Just jump forward a few months. Like, erase all of this Sheamus crap and let's get to Roman Reigns Triple H, because that's actually a match that I do want to see.
I would have preferred Triple H just winning the title, and maybe some people don't like to hear that because that would piss everyone off. But I've always thought that Triple H winning the title while he's in the Authority would be a decent move if the time was right, because that would really get a lot of heat. And Triple H is one of those guys who has heat on him in real life. Like, people really don't like that guy. So that would be seen as a major power move, and people wouldn't. And I know it maybe would have made the ratings go down, but I mean, anything's better than Sheamus, to be honest. So I would have preferred Triple H winning the title as opposed to Sheamus. If it's gonna be some bullshit, then that would have been a much better feud. But now we have Triple H versus Reigns, but except Sheamus is the wrestler involved. He's just a proxy, so it's not gonna be interesting.
We got a comment from Justin, one of the hosts from PWTR in the chat. He says, Sheamus is a damn main eventer if booked correctly. Let me stop you there. He's not booked correctly. That's the whole fucking point. That's what we're talking about. He's not booked correctly. Okay, so anything more to say on this whole situation with Sheamus and Roman Reigns? Like, I do have something to say here. Because I looked at what's happened and what WWE is attempting to do with Roman Reigns. And I don't know, maybe it worked, because if you judge by the crowd's reaction to Roman Reigns on Monday Night Raw, He had a pretty big night, and people were staunchly in support of Roman Reigns. But I don't like. I guess it's just a situation where it's like the ends justify the means for WWE. I still don't like the way that they went about things at Survivor Series, because to me that made it seem as if they've stopped trying to book Roman Reigns like John Cena, and they've started to try to book him like Daniel Bryan, where they're trying to throw all of this friggin' sympathy on the guy, and it just seems very transparent to me. I think I was talking to Charlie about this, and some of the things that were said, it's like Roman Reigns does not look like the type of guy that the powers that be in WWE don't want to succeed. There was a real life, legit feeling to what was going on with Daniel Bryan, the way that he had to fight through adversity and fight through the politics in WWE to get to the pinnacle, winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. With Roman Reigns, shit, Stevie Wonder could see this. They're doing everything in their power to push the guy, but it's so weird because it's like they do everything in their power to push him to that point, but then they stop him right when he gets there. Is this a sympathy thing?
Yeah, it is. I saw a post on Squared Circle that's basically said, I like this movie better when it was Daniel Bryan. Yeah, this is another one of those. And you're right, Reigns does not look like the guy that they wouldn't want to succeed. To be fair, that's in the storyline. They do want him to succeed. He's just not selling out. So, okay, that's covered. But it's just stupid. If they want to push Roman Reigns, they have to go through the heel turn. Everyone knows that, but they don't want to accept it.
Yeah, it's like they are so friggin' stubborn. Like one of the things that I read, one of the rumors floating around, they didn't want to go through with this World Championship reign for Roman Reigns because they want to wait until he isn't booed. And I'm like, well, shit, I guess he's never winning the championship again, because if that's your goalpost, you're not going to get there. There are just some people who simply don't like Roman Reigns, and there ain't a damn thing that you can do to change that, because when you do change things, they're going to find something different. There was a point where it was because Daniel Bryan was more talented than he is. Now they're talking about, it's because Cesaro, he should have been in that spot. I've heard Roman Reigns, he can't wrestle. I've heard Roman Reigns, he doesn't have enough moves. I've heard Roman Reigns, he doesn't have a passion for wrestling, and he wanted to be a football player. And I've heard so many things. Like, they're constantly going to come up with something new every single time with this damn guy. And if you don't want to fully, go out with it, then stop screwing around. Stop trying to say you're gonna like this guy the way that we want you to like him. Book the fucking guy correctly, please. Stop trying to make him Daniel Bryan, John Cena. It's not going to work. I want to see Roman Reigns kick some ass. And that's why I liked what we got on Monday Night Raw with Roman Reigns, the intensity, the fire that he showed at the ending of the show. But I still don't like the road that we got to, the road that we have to go through to get there.
Yeah, and one more thing I wanted to talk about was, I guess, what are they doing with this Rusev Barrett stuff? Do you think, are they making anything stable? What the hell is that about? Or is it just 3 guys per Reigns to overcome? Are those the new authority guys? Is that what it's going to be?
The way that I'm seeing it, it possibly could be a loose affiliation with the authority. And it's kind of interesting that we're talking about this, because I remember the Shield, they had a loose affiliation with the authority, and they were kind of like the henchmen, the hound dogs of the authority. Maybe this is going to be that same situation, and Roman Reigns has to get through all of those guys to get to Sheamus at TLC.
Well, the part that I like was Barrett knocking him out, because Barrett's actually cool. So I wish he was the one in this situation, not Sheamus, because even if Barrett was as incredible as Sheamus is right now, I would still support Barrett as the champion, just because he can make it work. I don't care what he has to deal with. He just cuts a promo and he looks like a badass. So I would rather have Barrett, but of course it's not. It's Sheamus, which kind of makes me upset, because that just reduces Barrett to a henchman, which is ridiculous, because Barrett's led 2 stables in the past. You don't see Triple H going from a fucking stable leader to a henchman. You don't see well, you do see Randy Orton doing that, actually.
Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and keep this show rolling. Next up, we are going to discuss... this is actually going to be our buy or sell segment. First up, we have Paige versus Charlotte. They had a rematch on Monday Night Raw, and this rematch was sprung about because Paige aired this clip from Survivor Series where Charlotte was under the ropes while she was applying the figure 8 on Paige, and, you know, Paige, she actually tapped out, but I guess that didn't matter. The fact that Charlotte was under the ropes, that was what she made the point of contention there, and she actually ended up getting a rematch for the Divas Championship on Monday Night Raw, and this match ended with a double count out, I believe. So, I want to extend this to Steven and also the PWF Empire Live viewers and listeners. Do you buy or sell WWE taking this turn with Charlotte and Paige for the rematch on Raw?
I don't even understand this. Maybe this is just my lack of wrestling knowledge, but like, why does it matter that Charlotte was under the ropes?
Because I think, like, the rope break, it extends to the person on offense and defense.
Why would
it
that
does because no. Here's the thing. Because have you ever seen like somebody go for like a heel go for a pin and then they use the ropes to get leverage? If the referee sees it, it's like that pin is null and void. Like, you can't do that. Like the ropes, that's protected territory. It works no matter whether you're on offense or defense in the match.
Well, I just always thought that's because they're using it as leverage, not because they're under the... I mean, she's just under the ropes. It wasn't... Okay, alright, fine, whatever.
Being under the ropes is like the same thing as having your... like touching it. That's how it works.
I guess so. I've never seen that play into anything before, but it's... I haven't watched all of wrestling, so maybe it has. But it just seemed dumb to me. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, why? She didn't use the ropes. Like, she just happened to be okay. No, so I sell it. I think even if it is a rule, it's stupid. But whatever. If they wanted to do a rematch, they got their rematch and didn't really do anything for the feud. So okay.
Here's the thing. I thought that this match between Paige and Charlotte was actually a really good match. And that is why I'm selling the hell out of this as a rematch. Like, I'm selling it because it was good. Because looking at that match and looking at the match that took place at Survivor Series, there was absolutely no need for the match at Survivor Series at all. Because all of the fire, all of the intensity that I said that they should have had that was missing from the match in Survivor Series, I saw it on Monday Night Raw. So that should have been a Survivor Series match right there, because the way the WWE booked it, it made it seem as if Charlotte was more pissed off at Paige for having the audacity to want a rematch than she was for insulting her family, because Paige came out of the gate with more passion on Raw than she did on Survivor Series. And that's just one of those things where WWE, they're like, okay, we just have a few slots to fill, and doesn't matter if it makes sense.
Slots to fill last night.
Shit, didn't Heath Slater get some time?
Yes, he did.
They had a whole hell of a lot of
It wasn't
slots
even a
to
match. It was just like, okay, shit, we got to do something. Here's Heath Slater, have Ryback come out. Like this, like I've said this before, but it's true. This is a house show now. These aren't Raws anymore. These are just house shows. They're just house shows because all the matches have nothing on the line. You just get the same matches every week. On house shows,
we got a different match. We got Neville versus Mark Henry.
Oh yeah, that too. That's another one. I was like, what the hell? Why would I care? I wrote on Twitter like, why are they fighting? I mean, okay, yeah, sometimes you just have a match, fine, but not on Raw. Like, again, that's a house show thing where sometimes you just have a match because it's not supposed to further any storyline. This is just weird. Like, I don't understand. And then after the match, it's like it didn't even set up for anything. He just shook his hand. Like, okay. And also, they made it seem like a big upset. Like, Neville beat Henry. The music didn't play for like 30 seconds. Like, did he win? Like, kind of like when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. I'm like, why is it a big surprise for Neville to beat Mark Henry? He always loses. And Neville he's not the most credible guy on the roster, but he beats a lot of people and he usually goes toe to toe with the main eventers. So why is this a surprise at all?
Because Mark Henry, he's I don't even know what you call it, but he's the proprietor of the Hall of Pain. That's why. Because we're supposed to forget all of the stuff that happened in between like 2011 and now.
Well, Mark Henry's awesome, but this wasn't an upset, and it didn't set up for anything. It's not like they're going into a feud.
Yeah, if Mark Henry is booked correctly, he could be a world champion.
Oh yeah, he can, because he's one of those guys. Like, I think we were talking about the guys who talk like in the ring, right?
Yeah, the non-mic workers.
Yeah, he's like the best at that. Like he always seems so believable. Like when he's beating on someone.
Yes. Man, I miss it so much. Just thinking about this, I remember when Mark Henry won the World Heavyweight Championship from Randy Orton, the ratings for SmackDown, or the viewers for SmackDown, jumped from one episode to the next 600,000 viewers.
Well, that's like the opposite of what we got.
Man. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll right on along to our next topic of discussion here. This is going to be Bray Wyatt's redemption, because Bray Wyatt lost his match versus
against the Dudley Boys. Oh my goodness! What?
Yes, like I mean, lowered expectations, man. You got to bring that bar down so you can hop over it more easily. But based off of what you said here, let me guess: do you buy or sell Bray Wyatt's redemption? I'm gonna go with a sell.
Why would they even sell it as a redemption? What the hell does that mean? He beat the Dudley Boys. Okay, they were in the pre-show. Okay, I like that.
Because we're supposed to forget all of that stuff. Like, we're supposed to remember the 20-time world champion Dudleys.
I like that Luke Harper got the pin, but that's it. I do want to see the Wyatts versus the Dudleys, but I don't want to see Bray Wyatt. I want to see Harper and one of the other two guys versus the Dudleys for the tag titles. But they don't. Neither of them had the tag titles, so. Whatever. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Are they going into a feud with the Dudleys? Is that what's going to happen? Are we not going to get New Day versus Dudleys at TLC?
Can I just paint a picture for everyone? WWE set up a storyline where Bray Wyatt was going to get redemption from the last feud that he lost, which in and of itself was supposed to be redemption for the feud that he lost before. So, like, this is like some human centipede type shit. Like, this is actually what's happening here. Because if you look at, like, let's go ahead and call it like it is. Bray Wyatt, he came out after he attacked Undertaker at Hell in a Cell. The next night on Raw, he effectively said, you know, Undertaker, I was your redemption. Now you're going to be mine, because he lost the match versus Roman Reigns. So they build a story based off of Bray Wyatt attempting to get redemption from the Undertaker. He does not get it, and he's now telling the same damn story with somebody else. Like this.
They ruined everybody on Survivor Series. That's what I told you. Like, everyone is. They fucked. I was just thinking, like, why don't they. If they needed a new top heel, why didn't they pull out Bubba Ray Dudley? Like, that could have been cool, but whatever.
Man, Bully Ray. If TNA has never done anything right in their entire history, Bully motherfucking Ray. Love that guy. And the
I
fact
feel like
that
they're not going to do it just because TNA did. They're probably going to like be like, no, we're not going that way.
Yeah, because somehow, some way, they think a nostalgia pop that has already dissipated is more valuable than, you know, characterization and evolution and things like that. Like, no, you showed your immense talent in another company, so we can't allow you to show it here.
They'd probably be like, oh no, that would never work.
But speaking of talent, though, like, the thing that I see with Bray Wyatt is that guy is a victim of his own talent. Like, the problem with him is that he's way too talented. And I know that sounds crazy, but here's the thing. Bray Wyatt, he does such an amazing job at painting a beautiful narrative for all of his feuds that every single time that he opens his mouth, he sets the bar higher, 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 and higher for himself, like such lofty expectations. And then the issue comes into play where the WWE creative team does not provide like a fail-safe for Bray Wyatt. Like, if he loses this match, here's how he's going to recover. Or not, like, shit, why does he have to lose? Like, things like that. They keep putting him in positions to where he fails, and they don't provide any kind of safety measures for Bray Wyatt. They just let the shit go do it again. It worked last time.
The way that I've always said Bray Wyatt should be booked is that it's okay if he loses the match as long as he wins the feud, because he's the type of guy who gets in their heads, and he's not necessarily the best wrestler. He's a big guy, but he's not the biggest guy. He's not the most formidable guy. But if he can, he's kind of like the Joker in that way. Joker gets beat, his ass gets beat all the time, but that doesn't decrease the credibility of the Joker. And that's fine for Bray Wyatt if they want to go that route, but he doesn't win feuds because, well, he's won some, but he doesn't really win feuds because he never accomplishes his goal. Even when he does win the feud, the babyface just goes on like nothing happened. So he doesn't like.
Yeah, and when the stakes are the highest, you know, like even when he does win feuds, when the stakes are the highest, those are the ones that usually he loses. And you bringing that up on the Joker, like I've been working on this column and I've been working on it for like 2 weeks now. But yeah, in the column I talk about how Bray Wyatt would be an amazing addition to Batman's Rogues Gallery. But the issue,
he belongs in like a better written universe than this one.
Yes, that's the thing. Like it's just that when you judge Bray Wyatt by pro wrestling standards, it just does not fit. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever if Bray Wyatt was on The Walking Dead for, like, I haven't watched the last few episodes, but I know with the last season they had like these guys running around carving W's into people's foreheads.
Oh yeah.
Wyatt, right there. He could fit right there. Steven, like we were marking out over the thought about him being in True Detective, like as the big bad in the first season of True Detective. Like in so many different elements of art and entertainment, I could see Bray Wyatt succeeding. But it's just that with the grind of pro wrestling, where especially with WWE these days, where everybody has to be on TV every damn week, and you just have to come up with something, even if it's not for the betterment of the story. You just got to come up with something to have that person on TV. That's when the potential of Bray Wyatt falls apart.
Yeah, you know, I said the other day that I don't think Bray Wyatt's dead, but I kind of feel like maybe he actually is, because now I'm thinking, I don't know why I said that. I guess I guess I was looking at the potential of Bray Wyatt and just letting that cloud me and just how good he is. So I'm like, yeah, he could recover from this, but like even if he does, like I'm not going to take it seriously because that's what the Undertaker feud was supposed to do. He's supposed to be some kind of redemption. I guess he still can be something if they decide to go with it, but they're not. So I guess it's not even worth talking about.
Okay, you know something that is worth talking about here? A conversation that I didn't want to have, but I think it's about damn time that we have this conversation. Now, the host of PWF Empire Live, like after the Survivor Series show, this topic kind of came up just out of the blue, but I thought that we should bring it onto PWF Empire Live on the actual show so you guys could hear what it is that we're talking about. And this topic concerns the one, the only Vincent Kennedy McMahon. I'm just going to go ahead and say this here. Out of the 16 years, almost 17 years that I've watched WWE, 2015 has by far been the worst on record. There have been so many times that I've watched the WWE product and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why is this happening? Why is this not happening? And just so many things that rubbed me the wrong way as a fan. But because I have a love for this art form, because this business is connected to Little J, you know, Little J Dub, because this business is connected, I keep watching and hoping things will get better. Now comes the time where we actually start to see how things could possibly get better. And one of the routes that we want to explore here on PWF Empire Live is if it is time for Vincent Kennedy McMahon to step down from the head of creative because he is out of touch. Now, would that be a phrase that you use to describe Vince out of touch?
Absolutely, he's out of touch. He doesn't know what the hell is going on. in the storytelling medium, and I think that's really evident because he doesn't. He says he does stories, like that's what WWE is. Like, we tell stories.
Yeah, it's this thing that they do to get away from being pro wrestling. Like we tell stories, we make movies. Like you do? Okay, that's news to me.
Yeah, they don't tell stories. Or someone said yesterday, not yesterday, after Survivor Series, I think when I said that, someone said in the chat, they tell stories, but they just tell the same 3 stories over and over again. That's also true. I mean, they do tell the story of the sympathetic babyface who gets screwed over by the Authority. That's been done a million times. And it was good when Daniel Bryan did it, even though it was done a million times before Daniel Bryan. That's just because that situation was very unique. But it doesn't work for Reigns. But that's beside the point. Yeah, this guy doesn't know what the hell is going on. Like, it's so evident, because if he knew, like, just how shitty his show is compared to, like, the surrounding television, I think it might spark something in him. But I don't think he watches TV. I really think because he must have just watched Rocky IV for the first time, like, 2 years ago when he brought Rusev in. So I don't think this guy watches TV. I think he's in his bubble. He doesn't understand what people want out of television. I think he books the show for himself. I think he does like what the hell is going on, because if he didn't like it, he wouldn't book it, or he wouldn't approve it. And
what was that comment that you made off air after the Survivor Series show? You said something like he lives in a different world than the rest of us.
He doesn't live in the real world. Like, do you see, like, when you think about Vince McMahon, do you think of him as an actual human being? I know you met him, so maybe it's a bit different, but, like, I think of him as almost like this character, like this.
Yes, like, I was just about to say this. Like, he seems like this living, breathing character.
Yeah, like, almost like he's not in this world. Like, he's so divorced from. Like, I almost want to, like, hear him talk about, like, politics, just so I could hear, like, him talk about something that's not wrestling, because I want to know he's...
Yeah, talk about... What do you eat for breakfast, Vince?
Yeah, like, what do you think about ISIS? I mean... like, how do you think that should be dealt with? Like, who are you voting for? Like, I don't know. This guy, I feel like he literally just eats, sleeps, and breathes wrestling, but not even that is true. Like, he eats, sleeps, and breathes his world, like, his wrestling world, not anything else. I doubt he's ever seen an episode of TNA, which I'm not saying he should, because it's not even close to being the competition, but so it's somewhere along these 10 years you might want to get curious about what the hell the competition is like. I doubt he's ever seen an episode of TNA. I doubt he's ever seen an episode of Lucha Underground. I doubt he's ever seen an episode of any other wrestling show. So I don't think this guy is in touch with anything that has anything to do with what his business is about anymore. He knows how to do the business side of things pretty damn well, it seems, because it's in good shape as far as that goes, like with the sponsors and the PG and the movies and whatever the hell. The network, I guess, is pretty successful, right? Last time I checked.
Of course, you always have room to grow, but they're getting record revenue nearly every single quarter.
Yeah, so fine moves, but he, as far as like what goes on in the product, it's just shit. And I don't know how the other aspects of the business can sustain themselves if the product is shit. Because if no one likes what's going on, no one's gonna buy the network anymore, because we've all had the network for like a year or two now, so we've kind of worn out the novelty of looking through the archives. So we're just, at least I do, I'm basically watching the network for the pay-per-views. And if I don't want to see those, I'm going to cancel the network. So I just don't know, like, how the sponsors aren't going to pay as much money if no one's watching the damn show anymore. Right? So I don't see how this can be. I don't think they're going to be in trouble. Like, they're always going to be afloat because there's always a market for them and they're on top. But they're going down every week, and it's because the show is shit, and I don't know why anyone would watch it at this point, because nothing happens, and the stuff that does happen is garbage. Like, we all wanted to see something happen at Survivor Series, and they gave us the same old shit. So okay, if that's how they want to go, they're gonna keep losing ratings. I don't know if they care.
Yeah, the thing is that I see with WWE, they're not selling a strong product anymore. They're selling themselves. Like, they're selling the brand that is WWE. That's why you have things, and I think I've talked about this on the show before. That's why you have things like the 3-Hour Raw, you have Total Divas, you have the WWE Network, you have Tough Enough, you have all of these different things that they do, like the Sports Center stuff. Like, they're not going to actually talk about any storylines on Sports Center or anything like that, because, hell, Charlotte was on there last week after Paige went out there and insulted her family. They didn't mention that at all. Like, they don't give a damn about the storylines. All they care about is the brand that is WWE. And like Steven, like you were talking about, it's going to get to a certain point where if the brand isn't that strong, then if the product isn't that strong, then what value does the brand have? Like, why don't you believe that those two things are intrinsically connected? When the product loses value, the brand loses value too. And WWE's product is at a low point right now. It really is. Like, the struggle is real when it comes to watching the product. And as far as Vince McMahon goes, I think it's about time that he steps down, because we talked about this off air too. Like, where are the complex characters in WWE? Like, when you look at the things that are big in society and pop culture and things like that, for example, Breaking Bad, where's WWE's version of Walter White? And I'm not saying somebody who makes drugs or anything like that or shit, you know, according to Vince, that would probably be his assertion as to, you know, what to bring on the WWE TV. But I'm talking about somebody who does something out of the purest intentions, but then those pure intentions take him down a dark path, and he doesn't even realize that he went down that dark path until he completely succumbs to it. Where's that person in WWE? Where are the complex characterizations when it comes to the more compelling sides of pop culture? You don't really see those in WWE. But yeah, when twerking and selfies, you see all of that shit all over the place. But the more compelling elements of pop culture, they're far and few between.
Yeah, and so, right now, like, the star power is just non-existent. I said this at Survivor Series, but there's no main eventers right now. Literally zero on their roster active at the moment. I mean, yeah, you have Brock Lesnar and you have John Cena, but they're not here right now. And Randy Orton kind of lost his main event. I mean, he's still a main eventer, don't get me wrong, but like, as in terms of like a real star, he's not really he's pretty much on the same level as everyone else, aside from Cena and Lesnar. And I guess I'd say Triple H is another star in The Undertaker. But look, these are all guys from another era. So, and I think I read this interview with John Cena where he basically said that he's done everything that he has to do. It looks like he's getting ready to retire almost. Like, he's kind of like, what the fuck am I going to do now? I've done everything. I don't think he wants to retire. I have it here. He says, you get to a certain point and you cannot attract any more fans. Essentially, my productivity from a company standpoint, I've done as much as I can. 15 world championships and a myriad of other accomplishments. I don't know what's left I can do, but I still want to be able to put people into the building. So it looks like he wants to, like, contribute, but he, like, what the hell is for him left to do, because he's beaten everyone and there's no one on his level to feud with. So they're in some real trouble. Like, they broke every potential star they had at Survivor Series. They dropped it with Reigns, they dropped it with Ambrose, with Owens, and with Wyatt. Those were the four guys. And even with Cesaro, he could have been a fifth guy on that list. And they just dropped the ball with every single one of them simultaneously. So that's really fucked up, and I don't know how they can justify doing something like that.
And speaking of all of these, like, injuries and things like that, like, the thought just popped in my mind, like, WWE, it's in trouble right now, but damn, 6 months from now, shit is going to be rocking when all these people start to come back from injury, but no.
Not
like,
even.
It doesn't matter who's on the roster. Like, I was thinking about people like Seth Rollins, Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan is
Cesaro.
the only person I want to see, and I don't even know if he's coming back at this point, because it's been like 3 months since he got cleared by his personal doctor, and he said basically he needs to see if the WWE doctor is going to clear him. Well, he's still not back, so I can only assume they're not clearing him, or they're really saving him, which doesn't make... Look, if they could have pulled him out, they would have done so by now.
They can't do it now. They can't. Like, from now until maybe WrestleMania.
No, don't worry. They'll pull him out
They'll
pull him out at the Rumble and have him lose again while they're trying to get the reigns over.
I say at the very least, keep him out until after the Royal Rumble, because if you're doing this whole shit where it's like we're putting all of this sympathy on Roman Reigns, you can't bring back, you know, one of the most sympathetic characters that you can ever seen in the company. Like, you can't do that, because then even the people who are cheering for Roman Reigns now that weren't cheering for him previously, they're gonna be like, who the fuck is he? Daniel Bryan is back. Like, nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Daniel Bryan is too popular for his own good. Not for his own good, for everyone else's good, I guess.
For Vince McMahon's good, and his weird ass logic in that way.
Yeah, it's sad, and I do think he needs to step down as at least the head of creative, but I don't see it happening unless things get to such a bad point and someone like fucking steps up. Like I said also on the after show. I say after show like everyone else was there, like the one we were just
with three viewers, and those 3 viewers happen to be the 3 people who were on the show.
Yeah, like I said, like I wish Triple H would just tell this guy, like, listen, it's shit. Like, come on, man, this is crap. But I don't think he wants to. I think he has too much respect for Vince, and I think he's kind of afraid to do that. Almost. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm talking as if I know, but I don't. But it doesn't seem like anyone has come up to this guy who he actually respects and said this is crap. I think the wrestlers need to start saying this is crap. I'm getting tired of these wrestlers justifying their bad storylines. Like, I'm tired of that shit. Like Bray Wyatt.
And I feel so bad for him when I listen to interviews and read excerpts and stuff like that. I just sit there like.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. Like, Bray Wyatt does this. He's like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care if I win or lose because I have faith in myself. Like, fuck you, dude. You can't get over despite Vince McMahon. You need to start standing up for yourself. Same with, like, Chris Jericho would do this. Like, oh, just keep watching. It'll come. Like, no, dude, I've watched this program long enough. There's no payoff coming. Don't try to lie to me, and don't lie to yourself. Even CM Punk said he did this. He said he did it to himself because that's how, like, because of the way they jerk you around backstage. Like, they tell you there's going to be a payoff, but there never is. Like, I remember when he was talking to Colt Cabana, and he was talking about when he lost to Triple H at SummerSlam. No, was it SummerSlam? Night of Champions it was, right? And he said, like, Colt Cabana said, you were trying to justify this to me. And then Punk said, yeah, you're right, I was. I should have seen that this was not good for me. Like, even Punk was trying to justify it. So, like, this is good for me to lose to Triple H. Mm-hmm. I feel like these wrestlers need to stay, like, no, I'm not doing this crap. Like, give me something better. The Shield used to do this, and look what we got from them. Some pretty damn good stuff. Like, they used to stand up to this crap. They said if they wanted to draw them out to Cena, they said basically, no, we're not doing that right now because we have a lot to offer and we're not going to be like everyone else. So people need to start standing up to him, or he needs to step down, and I don't see him stepping down.
Well, I mean, the guy, like, literally every single power position you could have in a company, he has it. He is the majority shareholder in the company. He is the chairman of the board of directors. He is the CEO. And the reason why those positions exist in a company, it's kind of like the way that government works. Like the balance of checks and balance. What the hell is it you call that? Is it checks and balances?
It's checks and balances.
Yeah, that's the reason why those positions exist. But this is like, we're living in an age, if like President Obama was in the Senate, the friggin' Speaker of the House, and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, like that's Vince McMahon and WWE. But yeah, I don't know how we could possibly recover from this. But
it is his company, so like I will always. It is his company, so like I said on the Anarchy that I don't understand why people like shit on George Lucas. Like, he made Star Wars. No matter how bad it gets, he fucking made Star Wars. So you will never see me like completely shitting on Vince. And ultimately, it's his company. we don't have a right really to tell him how to run his company, but like we're all fans. We all very passionate about it, so we give our input. But in the end, if he wants to book it how he wants to see it, he could do that. He's just gonna have to suffer the consequences.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums everything up right there, and they definitely are suffering them right now. 2.16, lowest rating in at least 17 years. Now we're gonna debut a new segment here on PWF Empire Live. This is called the Kayfabe tier list, and this was created by our very own Steven here. Could you give us a synopsis of what the Kayfabe tier list is?
Sure. So I pretty much got inspiration for this. I think it was WrestleMania 30. I started doing it on Squared Circle, and I've had a lot of help from a guy named We Are That. I think his name is We Are That. He makes the graphics. They're all very good.
That's an interesting name there.
Yeah. So I didn't make the graphics. I think we'll put them up. I think you're going to put them up, but I didn't make the graphic, just saying that. But I did start the tier list because I kind of was interested in seeing like the mobility of the wrestlers on the roster in terms of credibility. So I wanted to track something that would show me, like, I want to see them take a guy from the bottom and make him a star, and I wanted to see that visually. So I started doing it after every pay-per-view. Just grouping guys into like credibility tiers, not like how good they are out of the ring, not how good of a wrestler they are, not how many wins and losses they get, but just how credible they're presented. And it's kind of a vague criteria. I don't use like a hard and fast criteria. I just kind of
some kind of like a technical scientific algorithm that is.
Yeah, I do have like a brief like outline of the logic I use, but it's not something that I calculate, you know. Mm-hmm. Generally, I don't know. Do you want to put it up? Is it up?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and put it up right now.
Right. So I only the top is kind of cut off. Looks like.
Oh, they can see it. It's just you can't.
Oh, I can't. Okay. Well, basically, it's
so.
Separate.
Yeah, is this like a hierarchy in WWE? Because this is something that I've actually wanted WWE to do, like create a hierarchy so you can see exactly where people are and who's, I guess, for lack of a better word, worthy of winning championships and things like that.
Yeah, this isn't really what that is, because if that was the case, it would be based on logic. This is not based on. It is based on logic, but it's not based on like people climbing up. Like one day on the tier list, you could be a C, then you could be an A, depending on what WWE books you. This is me tracking what WWE does. It's not me like prescribing anything. You know, if they were to make a hierarchy list, they would do it a lot more smoothly. And I'm just tracking what they do and putting a label on it as best I can, because I'm interested in seeing if they could build stars. And right now, it's interesting. For a long time, they were building stars, because I would see people move up that I didn't expect. Like you would see the Shield go from B+ to A+. That did happen. I think I put them at B+ after WrestleMania when they beat the New Age Outlaws. I put them in A after they beat Evolution once, and then A+ after they beat them twice. But people keep going down. Daniel Bryan's another guy. He was in A+. Now he's in A-, and I'm not even sure if I could justify that anymore. Okay, so let me just explain kind of like the individual categories. So basically I do it so that if you're in a specific tier, the reason you're in that tier is because I think you have at least a 50-50 chance of beating anyone else in that tier. And that just means, like, if you have a match between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens, who are both in the A- tier, you can kind of see either one winning. Like, depending on the circumstances, you know that Ambrose is going to win. Like, if it's in the tournament, that's kind of an exception, because you just kind of insight into the booking situation. But, like, they're having a feud now, and to me, it's kind of up in the air who's going to win the feud, because they're both sort of on the same level. But if you have a guy from a higher tier versus a lower tier, then you kind of expect the guy in the higher tier to win. So if it's Reigns versus Ambrose, you pretty much know Reigns is going to win. If it's Reigns versus Wyatt, you know Reigns is going to win. So that's basically how I do it. and how people move up or down, it basically just, if I can't see the guy beating the other guys in their tier 50-50, then I move him down. If I see them beating the people in the tier 50-50, I move them up. And people might be wondering what the S tier is. That's basically just in fighting games. It stands for like super special, which is why I started making the tier list, because like I was inspired by fighting game tier lists. So if you play them, you kind of are familiar with what this looks like. And I had only Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker in that tier, and I reserved that tier specifically for someone who's so dominant that basically when they're in a match, they just win it automatically, because The Undertaker was in that tier having only wrestled in WrestleMania for the past several years. So basically, you know, whenever Undertaker was in the match, you know he was going to win. So he's just above everyone else. Now, Brock Lesnar beat him, so he was also in that tier. And I had them both in the tier until Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt. And Undertaker did win against Bray Wyatt, but I didn't feel like it was so dominant that he would beat Brock Lesnar. And I was kind of right about that, because he did beat Brock. It was a fluke, and he lost to him cleanly at Hell in a Cell. So
it's kind of like some of his luster was worn off with that match?
Yeah, but I will say the S tier only exists because of The Undertaker. Like, Brock Lesnar could not have got into that without beating him at WrestleMania.
Okay.
So that's what that is. Do you have any other questions about it?
So I have a question here. As we can see, like, this is actually broken up into 4 different levels here. And one notable member on this tier list here is Sheamus, the current WWE World Heavyweight Champion, who is ranked in the 2nd tier. Now, would it be like... Would best case scenario be that the WWE World Heavyweight Champion is on like the top tier? Because I look at Sheamus and I'm like, this is a hot ass mess.
Yeah, ideally the champion should be A+, but obviously, yeah, he's not. I wanted to put him in B tier actually, but the guy who made the graphic basically vetoed me and said I didn't have the heart to do it. I wanted to put him in V because well, okay, now looking at it again, I guess he would probably beat most of these guys in B+, but still hard to. That's only because he's the champion right now, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise,
yeah, because like
could have lost, right?
This plays into what you were talking about at Survivor Series when Sheamus, like 2 hours before he became the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, he was comic relief, like in a mid-card. I can't even necessarily say he was comic relief, because shit, New Day, they were the comic relief. Sheamus, he was just coming to fuck up the vibe. So I don't even know what he was, but yeah, the fact that nobody made us think about that guy being in a mid-card match, I guess that kind of explains why even with the championship, he's there.
Yeah, and that's sort of the purpose I created these lists, because I wanted a visual of what the hell's going on in this company. I want to see, like, who are the guys who are actually credible, and as you can see, there are very few right now. There's,
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is this thing graded on a curve?
No. Well,
okay.
Yes, it is, I suppose, but yeah, because if Undertaker, John Cena, and Triple H weren't there, then I guess the Reigns tier would be A+. But look, they're the guys who are in A+, and those are the guys who have been here for 10+ years, so it's not looking good. Mm-hmm. And the guys who are in A+ are Reigns, Rollins, who's injured, Randy's who's injured. I had Owens in A after he beat Cena. If he beat Cena again, I would have put him in A+, but that didn't happen. Like I said, Daniel Bryan was in A+ for the longest time because he had beaten pretty much everyone clean, including Cena, including Triple H, including Batista, including Randy, but not anymore. Bray Wyatt also had him in A for a bit, I believe. He dropped down because he's, So
yeah, I know.
Oh, by the way, the F tier is for people. It's usually reserved for people who you never see. So usually, even if you're a jobber, I don't put you in the F tier. I only put people in the F tier who don't even show up. Like, I guess Heath Slater should not be on here after Raw because he actually showed up, and I think Fandango shouldn't be on here either. But Sandow, where the hell has he been? Adam Rose, he's been cutting promos on the YouTube channel, looks like. Doesn't really cut it. And another thing is that this only tracks Raw and SmackDown, and increasingly it's only tracking Raw, but I do look at SmackDown statistics to account for this. So if it's main event or superstars, I don't count that. I count that as a failure. Because if you're on the main roster and you're not even on Raw or SmackDown, I think you're pretty much a failure in the company at the moment. So that's basically. We have some. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's basically the overview of what the hell this is.
I'm just reading some of the comments in the chat right now saying Ziggler should be in C tier. Kyler is saying he put Ziggler in the future endeavors section. So, like you like this when people like are arguing back and forth as to who should be where and stuff like that. Like I think that
yeah, I do.
At the very least, I think it's fun.
Yeah, it's obviously I'm the one putting this together, and I have some input from the guy who makes the graphics, and I might, now that we're doing it on this show, I might get input from you guys, maybe even the audience, but obviously it's just kind of my subjective opinion on it. I think I've been fairly accurate because it's been a success, but yeah, it's not hard and fast. It's just kind of the way I see things, and it's based on what happens. It's not based on wins and losses. Because if that was the case, then Sting would be in like F tier because he's only won like twice. It's based on what you do, who you can beat, just basically what your credibility is, and that's what I wanted to track because I want to see if they actually are making stars. And as you can see right now, they're not.
Yeah, and well, thank you for letting us bring this onto PWF Empire Live. This is something that I've wanted to do for years, or. Yeah, I could say that I've wanted to do this for years because I think that so many times when it comes to the kayfabe nature of wrestling, it kind of gets lost in the sauce because, like, we talked about this already on the show. Like, there are so many people who don't really care about characterization and things like that in wrestling. They don't care about storylines. They just care about, you know, who can get into the ring, who can do these moves and that moves and stuff like that. And I'm glad to see that there is somebody out there who still sees value and stuff like this, and hopefully the PWF Empire Live audience sees value in this as well. Let us know what you thought about the kayfabe tier list. Hopefully we're going to make this a monthly thing, or whatever rate WWE does their pay-per-view. So every episode of PWF Empire Live, every regular episode after the pay-per-view, we'll be discussing the kayfabe tier list. So thanks for that, Steven. What else do we have on the show tonight? I think we have Heath Slater.
Yeah, also JBL and El Torito. They did a segment, a backstage skit.
I skipped past that too. Like this was a shit. Monday Night Raw may have not officially been moved to 2 hours, but I was on it tonight. Yeah, I was not playing around. But sure, were you just joking, or did you actually want to talk about this stuff?
No, I don't want to talk about
it. Okay, because I was about to call you into the human resources office, and you know, we need to talk about a few things. But you know what? I do want to talk about a few things, though. I want to talk about New Day. We have Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E, the artist formerly known as Langston. They are the three members that make up New Day, and this week marks the 1-year anniversary of the New Day making their debut on SmackDown. Now, those were some very dark times. I don't even want to count this as New Day's anniversary. I want to go to like April and May when New Day actually started to get good, when they started that slow burn heel turn and they became the awesomeness that they are. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. I've worn this shirt for the last, I think, 3 episodes of PWF Empire Live, and nobody has made note of it at all. That's because I'm renaming Tuesday New Day Blue Day. So that's what Tuesday is going to be, New Day, Blue Day. So for the rest of 2015, I will be wearing this New Day shirt on every single episode of PWF Empire Live. But the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to show my support for the New Day and acknowledge the awesomeness that they are. And, the fact that when Monday Night Raw gets down to the dregs, when it gets tough to watch, you can always count on New Day to come out there and do something awesome. So we're going to put the spotlight on them and discuss exactly why New Day is awesome. If you could answer that question, Steven, why is New Day awesome? What would be your answer?
Because they do what they want. I think CM Punk said this. Was it him? We talked about this after the show as well. CM Punk only watches the New Day segments now, apparently. He said this in an interview because Kofi Kingston came over his house and they kind of checked out the New Day stuff. And I think Punk was asked, why are they doing so successful? And he said basically because they don't give a shit. Or was it him who said that? It was someone who was asked, why are the New Day so successful? And they said, because they don't give a shit. And they've gotten to the point where they do what they want. They seem to have full creative input over their act.
Yes.
And they just have fun, and people like that. And they're not reading a script. They're not going off of the stupid comedy that WWE throws at them with their writers. They're actually genuinely funny guys, and they bring that to the shows. I mean, Big E is a well-known funny guy. Xavier Woods seems pretty hilarious too, and I've never seen this side of Kofi before, but I guess he could be counted among the funny dudes who are backstage, and they're just doing that. Sort of like Santino used to do, although he kind of fell victim to the creative machine after a while. But yeah, when you're given control over your act, you get over because because people know that you're having fun, and that you're being genuine, and that like this is something that you are passionate about and that you're into, and that you are. It's not a force-fed thing. Like when New Day first came in, they were being forced down everyone's throats. Like, this is a babyface group. They're white meat babyfaces. They're singing gospel music. They're dancing and shit.
And I still cannot believe that they actually thought that shit was gonna get over.
I can't either.
Vince, going back to that whole out of touch thing. Like, there it is, right there.
Like after the promo they cut, where they're like, "Yeah, the black guys, we're sick and tired of dancing around," and then they just dance around. Like, what the? Like after that promo, this is what you do? But I kind of
like that was so bad that I actually thought that they were trolling.
I thought they were
when
too.
They started to air those vignettes, I was like, this shit is not gonna last. Like this is gonna be them. Like it was gonna be tied to that promo that they cut where they were talking about, we're done entertaining. We're gonna do things our way. I'm thinking this is gonna be tied to it because they were gonna come back. They were trolling us, and then one day they were just gonna flip the switch and say, "Oh yeah, you guys like us now. This is This is the only way that we can get you to like us and notice us and things like that." But that flip, it just didn't come. I guess because nobody liked them. So I guess that was the thing.
I thought it was trolling too. I thought it was like a Jericho kind of thing. But I kind of like that aspect of their history. I like that they went through that phase because that just makes it more interesting. That they took this shit and then they made it into.
I mean, in hindsight, because the struggle was real when I had to sit through it, but like now, good shit, amazing stuff. So, and
the way you phrase this, I think the way you phrase this, what are they too over? Are they too successful?
Yeah, because here's the thing, like what I wanted to talk about, because I look at New Day and I see, I look at them and the tag team division in WWE, and the honest to God truth is, I don't ever want to see New Day lose the championships because I can't see anyone or any team facing the New Day and taking those titles away from them. Because what you would expect to happen in situations like this is for a team to ride a wave of momentum into a match with the New Day and capture the championships. But I believe that New Day is just too damn good, and they eat up so much attention when they're in a feud with someone that it's basically like they smother them out of the feud. And New Day are technically supposed to be the heels, but when you are in a feud with heels that the crowd loves so much, you can't get over. You're smothered. And look at the Dudleys.
This is another reason why I think the heel face thing is played out, because it's a confusing situation. Because you bring the New Day in as babyfaces and they're booed. You turn them heel and they're cheered. So what the hell do you do in this situation? And it is just a product of being too entertaining. This is why they made Mr. Kennedy stop doing what he did because he was too entertaining. And I can kind of see where they're coming from, but the solution isn't to make them less entertaining. The solution is something else.
It's to bring everybody else to their level.
It's that, or it's to turn the baby face, or it's to get rid of the face heel thing altogether. It's one of those things. I wouldn't mind seeing the baby face as long as they continued to be awesome. But I don't think that they're stuck in the tag team role. I really don't. I think they can lose the titles. The tag team division is actually surprisingly good because you have the Usos, you have the Dudleys, you have Kalisto and Sin Cara, you have the Ascension, you have primetime players. So it's
yeah, but
actually
how many of those teams are captivating in the way that New Day are?
I mean, they're not captivating on the same level, but people are still into the Usos. They're still into the Dudleys, and I think it's kind of it's not fair to compare them because the New Day is just so entertaining that it has nothing to do with the tag division. It's just like if you're overshadowing the Dudleys, that's not the Dudleys' fault. Like it's really not. It's just that the New Day is just fun. But I want to see the New Day in the main event. Like I really do. They remind you of the Spirit Squad, which I think was a great stable because they were kind of goofy, but they were somehow like a huge threat. And another guy is Kurt Angle. Like he was one of those guys, just goofy, but somehow a huge threat, right? And the New Day, I think, could be something like that.
We saw a little bit of that with them beating the shit out of Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, shit, this is kind of cool. And it's interesting because a lot of people wanted them to be the new Nation of Domination, and I kind of did as well at the time because I'm like, yeah, I want to see something serious for these guys. But like looking in hindsight, like this is really something unique as compared to what that would have been. That would have been another black stereotype. Whereas this is like, you would never think of this. Like you would never book this, right? You would never like book these three guys in this goofy role. It just kind of had to happen, and it did. But I wouldn't mind seeing them get more serious from time to time. Not like all the time, but like they did on that segment you mentioned.
And with John Cena and stuff like that.
With John Cena and the Dudleys. I think they interrupted Orton and Ambrose once. That also felt kind of like that. Yeah. So I want to see them getting involved in the main event. Like, they'd be a great... Even if they don't freebird it, even if they just pick one guy to be the champion, or go after the champion, or even if they're not even in the title picture, but they're just a main event group that's sort of in the way, kind of like Rated RKO was, Jericho and Big Show were. Like, sometimes you have these main event tag teams that are kind of obstacles, but they're not really... They're in the main event, but they're not gunning for the title. So I think New Day really should be in the main event. They could afford to leave the tag division if they wanted them to.
We got a comment from Damian Clark here saying that I swear they added the unicorn thing because someone backstage told them they couldn't get the idea of unicorn magic over. That would be so hilarious if it is. Like, I wish that was something because, you know, like, we've had this thing, like I've said before, WWE's creative meeting, it's throwing darts, you know, at a dartboard, and whatever it sticks on, that's what they're going with, or, you know, monkeys pulling stuff out of a hat. Not even just people pulling random shit out of the hat. You actually have the monkeys pulling the stuff out of a hat. So that's like double fucked there. But yeah, I'm quite sure New Day is so talented that you could put them in those situations and they would still take whatever they had and turn it into gold. And that's what Steven, you hit the nail on the friggin' head when you talked about the creative control that they have over their characters. That's why it seems so different when I see the New Day versus anytime I see virtually any other act in WWE today. It doesn't matter if it's a tag team division or anything else. Like, I look at them and it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel organic. But with the New Day, you could tell that these guys are having fun. You could tell that they have a passion for what it is that they do and they want to succeed. They actually have a vested interest in going out there and entertaining people because they have fun. And I think it's kind of like a bittersweet thing, or I can't even necessarily say bittersweet, because it's fucking sweet. I love it. But I do have to acknowledge that I think the only reason why they got to this level is because they were left for dead. Like, creative was like, we don't know what to do with you guys, so you know what? You go out there and do whatever it is that you want to.
That tends to happen. Same thing happened to CM Punk when he started the Straight Edge Society. Same story. They're like, we have nothing for you. And he's like, bullshit. And then he came back with this 10-week plan. Here's what I want to do. And I don't think they didn't do it that way, but they sort of took control of it. And that's what people need to do, because when you stand up to Vince McMahon, nothing bad usually happens. In fact, he seems to like that. You get places.
Yeah, because you were talking about with the Shield, they were the guys that stood up for themselves. Let's go ahead and go back to that podcast interview that Stone Cold did with Vince. Who were 3 of the people that he named as the people who were grabbing that brass ring? Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins.
Yeah. I wish more people would do it. I wish Bray Wyatt would do it. I wish he would say, look, I'm not losing another fucking feud, dude. I wish Kevin Owens just got here. It's kind of hard for him. Still, it seems like Vince is not the type of guy. He says don't piss anyone off. He also said that in the podcast, but that's bullshit.
I think the thing is he does that to scare people off, like scare the punks away. Like he wants to see who's going to really step up to him. So when he says don't piss anybody off, and then people go, oh my God, I can't piss anybody off now. He wants that guy that's going to be like, okay, bet.
Yeah, because look, the people who have succeeded in the company have pissed Vince off. Maybe John Cena is the only one who, even him, he's stood up to Vince before, as far as I know, right?
I'm sure it has had to have happened, but that guy is such a company guy that he'll probably do anything Vince asks him to do. Shit, yeah. Vince is probably begging him to take a break now. Like, just stay off. John Cena is like, you guys need me. I want to come back.
No, it seems like the opposite. It seems like he's pretty insistent on the break. But yeah, like everyone who's been successful has basically not been scared by this big guy, this big multi-millionaire who's larger than life. Like Shawn Michaels, Austin, Brock Lesnar to an extent, Undertaker. All the people who are successful stand up to this guy because they know that they have to be selfish sometimes because they got to protect their character. They know what's good or not. Like Austin, when he walked out, it wasn't because he didn't want a job to Lesnar. It's because he didn't want a job to Lesnar on Monday Night Raw. And I don't know if that was the best response, but I kind of admire that he actually had the balls to oppose that, because that would have been dumb as shit.
Alrighty, yeah, that was our little spotlight on the New Day. Yes, those guys are awesome. And also, they were one of the highlights of Monday Night Raw with their whole... what was it called? Like a country music jamboree?
Something like that.
I want to get the official name because I got to do them justice here. It had jamboree and country music. Should I know that?
And Kofi Kingston said, "This isn't my character talking. Country music sucks."
That was funny. And also them wishing shame on all of the Usos and the Lucha Dragons. That reminded me of that scene from Game of Thrones.
I don't know that scene.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Yeah, my
Shame.
my Game of Thrones fans, you know what that one is. Like you know what that scene is all about. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to PWF Empire Live. We will catch you next week on Tuesday, or New Day Blue Day, 9 p.m. Eastern on PWFempire.com. What do we have for next week's show? If you guys want, to see what the topics that are coming up for upcoming shows, just go to pwfempire.com/live. What do we have in the listing here? We got another edition of Push Repackage Release, and we're also going to be discussing the current state of pro wrestling. This is where that whole stuff about you wanting to watch Lucha Underground comes into play. Like, I'll give you an episode to watch. I'm not even saying you have to watch the whole thing. Just watch this one episode, and I want to see what you think about it next week, because we're going to be talking about the current state of pro wrestling, WWE, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, because WWE, it does look as if it's in like a very dark period right now, and we're going to attempt to see if that like downturn in the business extends beyond the borders of WWE and what's going on and how successful other wrestling companies are and stuff like that. And with Push Repackage Release, if you all have any ideas for what we should do for this next edition of Push Repackage Release, like if you have the trio that we're going to be doing this based off of, let me know on Twitter with the hashtag PWF Empire. There you can also share your thoughts on the rest of the show and all of the topics we discussed. So thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, peace out.